Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Today we are going to be continuing on our Algorand educational crusade. You guys know that I'm a massive fan of the Algorand blockchain, and Algorand is one of those blockchains that I think will emerge a winner from the blockchain race, or out of the blockchain race. And we're gonna do two things in this video. The last video that we made was talking about how Algorand is changing the world and how we're seeing real world applications be built on top of Algorand and actually harness the Algorand blockchain. And I really do believe blockchain is going to change the world. We did a video that we brought out earlier where we used Cardano as a specific example. I know not everybody likes Cardano. I'm not going to make that argument. But we looked at Cardano and we looked at Metcalfe's law. Well, you can apply that to any blockchain, guys. So you could apply that to Algorand. And I'm essentially, and what I was saying, and it's one of the most important things to understand about blockchain, is a blockchain's value comes from its users and adoption. And Algorand stands to do very well. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. I want to start things off, because this is an educational video, by actually playing another clip from one of the Algorand or from the Algorand Summit. And they talk about Algorand's performance here and a little bit about how Algorand works. Now, the name Algorand is very appropriate to describe the blockchain, because Algorand works on and we have done videos where we've done deep dives into how Algorand works. And of course, it's ever evolving because it's a technology and upgrading. Algorand essentially works on something called pure proof of stake, which is pretty interesting in my opinion. And they also use a consensus mechanism which harnesses randomness. So ALGORAND. Algo part comes from algorithm, and the rand part comes from randomness. Algorand harnesses the power of randomness to, you've got this blockchain trilemma, doing my Jay-Z here. You've got this blockchain trilemma, and security is a big part of it. And how Algorand tackles security is through this randomness feature. Hopefully, you guys are now understanding that I'm not just a moon boy, and I actually, I've spent 5 years researching all this. But I want to play a clip from this where he sort of talks a little bit more about Algorand as a technology and what it does. And then I want to, in actual fact, we'll go ahead and do it first, and we'll play a little bit about how Algorand works to educate people a bit more on it at the end of the video. I want to start off with some absolutely huge news that I actually didn't get around to covering. Because it seems like central banks around the world, or some of them, are choosing Algorand. And this is why I think Algorand is going to be a winner. They're very regulatory minded. They work very closely with regulators. Algorand, and I've already previously spoken about this, already runs a central bank digital currency. I don't know if I'd call it a central bank digital currency, but a digital currency, a CBDC, in the Marshall Islands. So Marshall Islands to power world's first national digital currency with Algorand and SFB technologies. Why the Marshall Islands sovereign chose Algorand, and he goes on to talk about a number of things. It's not just the Marshall Islands that have chosen this. I believe is the Marshall Islands a Caribbean set of islands, I believe. But we now have huge news that came out on the 13th of December, so at the end of last year, which was the fact that the Bank of Italy are partnering with Algorand. Okay, we know they're not the largest bank in the world, but the fact, how many other blockchains out there do you know that are partnering with banks, central banks, banks that are in charge of running entire countries? And these are some of Algorand. These are two Algorand partnerships that we've mentioned. There are many out there, guys. So when I say I'm on an Algorand educational crusade, it's for a reason. I'm not here to shill you anything. I made a Polkadot video yesterday where people said I was shilling it because I was a big fan of the XCM model that they give. I don't care if you buy or you don't, to be honest. But what I do care is that I educate you guys. I'm going to be buying Algorand. You guys make your own decisions whether you buy. You're the only ones that stand to benefit or profit from it. Not me. I have no affiliation with Algorand or any of the projects that I talk about. And if I did have affiliation with a project, guys, what you got to understand is legally I have to disclose that. So no affiliation with Algorand, just a fan, nothing more, and here to share with you a little bit about that. So let me go ahead and get rid of my beautiful face, and then we're going to dive into the partnership that they have Remember, they already have a partnership with the Marshall Islands with the Bank of Italy. So Algorand chosen as public blockchain to support digital guarantees platform in Italy. And it goes on to say, Algorand incorporated a world-leading layer one blockchain, which we're going to hear a little bit more about from the Algorand Foundation. Blockchain technology has been selected to be the public blockchain that will support and innovate digital guarantees platform in Italy. The company today joined the Bank of Italy and the Italian insurance authorities, IVASS, along with more than 30 financial institutions at an event in Milan to illustrate how banks and insurance guarantees can be issued on digital ledger technologies, DLT, also known as blockchain. We have done many videos. We're not just on a crusade to educate people about Algorand. We're on a crusade to educate people about the blockchain space as a whole. We did a video at the start of the year, first video released in 2023, where we looked at comments from Larry Fink talking about the tokenization of everything. Can you see how the pieces of the puzzle, ladies and gentlemen, are coming together? I've got a smile on my face because I've been saying this for 5 years. I've been saying it for longer than that, in fact. Blockchain's here to change the world. This is a technological revolution akin to the internet, akin to the telecommunication industry, akin to the railroad industry, akin to them all, guys. And I'm talking to you on the other end of the screen, get to be the beneficiary of that if you take advantage of what's happening today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pause for a second there. And then I'll go ahead and read on. In fact, we don't really need to read on. This was essentially it. You can come and find all this stuff for yourself. They then go on, or this is from them. We selected Algorand because it is unparalleled level of innovation and security among permissionless DLTs. You're going to see DLT, distributed ledger technology, be how they reference all this stuff, by the way. They don't want to use crypto or blockchain because, it alludes to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, in my opinion, will not be the victor. Some of you may have got a little bit butthurt there, but I don't care. Bitcoin will not be the victor. Do you think that the powers that be will allow you to have your own decentralized money that they don't have a monopoly over? You've had the same money lenders that Jesus drove out of the temple. The only time he ever got mad, and by the way, I'm not, it's not just mentioned in the Bible, the people that control money, it's mentioned in the Quran, all the holy books. These people have been controlling money for a long time, and they will try to commandeer the blockchain space and ultimately control it. And that's why we're seeing people partner with it. Now, that's not a good thing for things like freedom and stuff like that. There's many benefits that blockchain brings, but you have to understand there's also negatives. Just because I'm a massive blockchain fan and enthusiast doesn't mean I'm blind to the fact that there are negatives that can come with blockchain being adopted. One big negative is surveillance, certainly financial surveillance. Anyway, we're getting off topic. As well as because it is the leadership in sustainability. So Algorand is supposed to be the first net carbon negative blockchain. They also, what was I going to say there? They also are actually talking about being quantum resistant. So one big criticism that has been levied against Bitcoin, and I've seen it for as long as I've been in the crypto space, is that what happens if quantum computers come around, then your 51% attack could really take place. But I won't go on and read too much because I do want to play a very short clip. And we have done more in-depth guides on Algorand, how it works, and some of the consensus, the security. The security is really leveraged from the randomness feature. It's genius. Silvio McCarley has won the Turing Award, which is essentially like a Nobel Prize for mathematics. Obviously, the Nobel Prize is scientific, but for mathematics, he's won like the equivalent, basically. The guy's a genius. He came up with, was it zero knowledge proofs? And he's somebody you really want to found a project and sort of head it. So I'll play this little clip. This guy's talking about how Algorand works, just for a bit of education at the end of this little hype and this little shill, I guess you call it, although I'm not shilling you guys anything, and then I'll love and leave you.
This is Chris. We're from the core protocol team here at Algorand, and today we're going to talk to you about core protocol performance.
Forgive me, guys. The sound. This is the max sound, so obviously the sound wasn't quite great at the conference. Shocking that there's only that many people there. Any Algorand guys out there listening, I will attend let me know the next one, and I'll be there to boost the numbers.
So blockchain performance is a highly touted area. While first and second generation blockchains offer a lot of promise, they become difficult to use if only a few people can afford to use them at once. Over the past few years,
I just want to quickly interject there. He's talking about first and second generation blockchains. First generation Bitcoin, Ethereum came out after Bitcoin because, of course, they looked at Bitcoin, took the underlying principles and consensus, and of course created Ethereum out of it, added smart contracts to it, and now we have third generation's proof of stakes, which Ethereum is now merged to, and then I even think we may have fourth generations or different blockchains like these Layer 0 Polkadots and Cosmoses.
We've seen a rise in the number of Layer 1 and Layer 2 blockchains competing to solve these scalability issues. With so many options out there, it's been hard for projects to choose which chain to build on when so many of them claim to safely solve or reach these scalability issues. Sorry, technical problem. As our industry starts to move into the value creation phase, we're starting to see consumer-grade applications solving real-world problems built with blockchain technology. These teams want to know what security or decentralization trade-offs are being made behind the scenes, as it can directly impact the user experience. So where does Algorand fit into this picture? Well, a few years ago, Algorand launched with a novel pure proof-of-stake consensus mechanism. Pure proof-of-stake is hyper-focused on decentralization and security, which impacts how we approach scalability. So there's a lot to cover here, but I'll call out a few highlights. First, Algorand uses a verifiable random function, or VRF, which randomly samples consensus members to propose new blocks and to form voting committees that validate these block proposals. Since the VRF uses random sampling, Algorand fixes each committee to a maximum size, regardless of how many online participants there are. By fixing this maximum committee size, the network can scale up to handle millions of participating accounts without restricting performance. Second, Algorand has a low barrier to entry. People can participate in securing the network with as little as one algo, which allows it to become more decentralized over time. And third, Algorand is one of the first movers on post-quantum security. By launching state proofs, the Algorand blockchain now uses post-quantum cryptography to attest the state of the blockchain, allowing it to protect blockchain history from quantum computer attacks. What this all means is that the blockchain is well protected from risks like downtime, censorship, deplatforming, economic attacks, and lots of other nasty stuff that comes from centralized trust assumptions. For example, since Algorand uses random lotteries to select block proposers, the network needs to route traffic to all online participants, which means consensus votes, transactions, etc., rather than filtering it to one specific node. This makes it really hard to target or bias individual proposers or voting committee members because nobody knows who they are until after their job has already been completed. This is in contrast to many other blockchains who know who block proposers will be in advance, which allows them to achieve large performance gains by routing traffic to a specific set of nodes. However, this comes at the cost of reducing decentralization and increasing the associated risks that come with it. So Algorand has made some design choices that boost decentralization and security, but restrict some of the ways that we can boost performance. So how do we scale it up? Well, there's a bunch of different techniques. First, you can increase the block size, because bigger blocks means there's more space to add more transactions inside of them.
So now they're talking about how they're actually going to increase the scalability of the blockchain. Algorand's very fast. I've used it. I've used their DeFi space. The critique that I have for Algorand's DeFi space is that the wallets are not great. I was going to say something a little bit ruder there. And for new users, somebody like myself that's DeFi savvy and crypto savvy, cool. You know, I know how to do that sort of stuff, but new users maybe not as good. I'm going to love and leave you on that note, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this Algorand video. If you have, a like, it's always appreciated. So as a comment, share it round, and I'll see you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, ladies and gentlemen. See you all in the next YouTube video.